Good morning, everybody, and happy Thursday to each and every single one of you. It is the Breakfast Burrito. Thank you for tuning in here on Your Sports Network, our YouTube page, and wherever you are, thanks for joining us this morning. My name is DJ Yoakley, and my broadcast partner, as always, Mr. Thomas Pease. Tommy, how you doing, buddy?
Man, I tell you what, the introduction gets better and better every day.
I try to keep it high for you. I mean, you are a man of many talents, and I want to make sure that that you are well represented each and every morning.
Wow, thank you, DJ.
I do the best I can, man. You're fresh off the road, my friend. A lot of stuff going on this morning for you, eh?
Yeah. My mom called and needed some stuff done, so I went over and took care of that early this morning, and now here I am on the burrito, wrapped up and ready to go. That's
it. If mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy.
That's right.
All right, my friend, we had a unbelievably heavy show yesterday. A lot of stuff going on. We talked about, if you weren't able to listen to the show yesterday, some hot topics. We talked about coaches as parents. We talked about coaches versus parents. And we got a lot of good feedback. We also talked a little bit about this situation where schools are going into tournament time, and there's a little bit of a layoff, and we got some feedback on that. So we'll bring it up with our first take this morning, and this one coming from our very own Anthony Hartwig, the voice of South Range over there, and he kind of did some research for us, talked about to a couple coaches. It seems to me, and it seems to him, that there's going to be some scrimmages in the meantime of between the final regular season game as well as the first tournament game. So interesting that teams, I don't want to say it's a bad idea, but interesting teams want to roll the dice with, possible injury or things of that nature right before tournament time. What's your thought on scrimmaging, between the last regular season game and first postseason game?
Well, I mean, we talked about it yesterday on the show about, the layoff, the 10 to 14 day layoff that some of these teams are going to have to deal with. I don't see a problem with it. I mean, it's going to keep them fresh. It's going to keep them game fresh, keeping their legs underneath of them. And yeah, I think it's a very smart idea. I was unaware that it's, that you're actually allowed to scrimmage in season, but, yeah, it definitely a good idea for sure. I mean, it's going to help these kids stay in form.
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for the kids. What I fear, and I'm going to play devil's advocate here, is let's say you're a star player or one of your key players for the team is, you guys are going down the court and all of a sudden he rolls or she rolls an ankle and they can't play in the tournament game. Is there any, they're obviously not consequence because it is what it is. It's sports. It's, there's always an opportunity for injury, but as a coach, as an athletic director, as a parent, is that something you want to roll the dice with?
Well, I mean, you can't play what if scenarios when it comes down to, to this situation. You just gotta, you gotta do what's best for the team. And, that would be keeping everybody fresh, keeping everybody informed. So, I mean, you can't, like you said, you can't sit there and, talk about, what if this guy gets injured or what if this happens during a scrimmage? Because, I mean, you're going to get yourself in trouble playing the what if scenario all the time. So, yeah, I mean, you just got to move forward, take the scrimmages, work on what you got to work on, keep everybody informed, and get set for state tournament time.
So when state tournament time comes up, there's a lot of teams represented at all various levels, all various districts. It's an exciting time here in Northeast Ohio, Western Pennsylvania, and obviously a little bit south towards your way. Some good basketball to be had. Are you keying in on anybody but the Potters? I mean, has anybody caught your eye this season that you think can make a realistic run at this thing?
I mean, like I said, I thought Harrison Central, seen them play this year, and I thought that they got what it takes to make a deep run into the playoffs. Now, the other night they lost to Steubenville by 10 in what was a track meet, but Harrison Central, who normally lives and dies by the 3-pointer, only shot 10 of them on the night. So it was maybe they had a different game plan in mind than what I seen from them the two times they came into the field house. But they're a team that definitely could make a run. Also, once the Potters, or if the Potters can get through Beaver Local on the 27th, I'll definitely travel down to Zanesville and get a look at their team. A lot of hype around that Zanesville team, especially that guard, which I still didn't get his name. I got to get that name. 6'7", going to Marshall. So I'll definitely follow them throughout after that game. If the Potters go down there and take the L, I'll follow Zanesville and see how they do. But other than that, I mean, South Range, I'll keep an eye on that. Of course, because you cover them heavily, and it's easy to follow them on YSN. So yeah.
Hey, as long as that 6'7" guy's name isn't Jabron Lames, I think we're all going to be okay, and we think that there's a possibility for a victory somewhere when you're playing that team.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so I mean that kind of quick and fast and to the point for local coverage today. We want to thank Anthony Hartwig for pointing out that some of these teams, the majority of these teams, are going to be scrimmaging. The other point of contention yesterday was the parents and parent coaches and parents versus coaches. Got some good feedback on that, Mr. Pease. A lot of them siding with you and basically saying, at the end of the day, parents are going to have to be coaches because they're the only volunteers. They're at the games anyway a lot of times, so they take it upon themselves. And in a society where everybody's busy, it takes a special person to become a parent coach. But on the other side of that coin, I mean, it was interesting. Everybody I seemed to talk to yesterday that listened to the show was, there comes a point where you got to have that handoff. You got to hand off the baton to somebody who doesn't have a horse in the race, so to speak, and is just out for victory. And if your kids can't cut the mustard and play at that level, then they're either going to be, a supporter, a role player, or they're going to have to up their game. So some great articles over at we just posted on our Facebook page. Some great articles over at the Coaches Tribune. You can visit them. They're our partners, coachestribune.com. Make sure you go visit them. They got some great topics to discuss. And also, it's a great opportunity for you, whatever level you are, to take some notes and to make your game a little bit higher, take it to another level. So visit them over there. But this is something that we're going to be seeing a lot more. I think you're going to see a lot more parent coaches, and what I am finding and talking through, to some of our friends and our close friends of the show is some of these parent coaches turn out to be high school coaches, and that's not necessarily a bad thing because they've engaged, they've got the time to put into it, whether they're a business person or just passionate about the game that their children love. They're able to put the time and effort into it, go to coaching clinics, read books, all the things that you need to become a coach. And there's some of them that are really successful at the middle school, high school level. What's your take? Do you see that happen a lot kind of down south?
No, not necessarily down here. I mean, we do have a lot of, former Potter athletes who currently coach at the high school level and at the middle school levels. I mean, there's probably, 20 coaches in the school district right now that either graduated or played sports at East Liverpool. So, but parent coaches, no, I mean, I don't really see that too much. I mean, the assistant volleyball and assistant girls basketball coach is Jennifer Ludwig down here in East Liverpool. She's the wife of the principal, Jonathan Ludwig. She was a dominant athlete in her high school days as a volleyball player and as a basketball player. So she's, her daughter is a sophomore at the school. So, there's a parent coach. But other than that, I really don't. I take that back. The head volleyball coach, John Stokes, he's not a former Potter, I don't believe, but he also is a parent coach. His daughter is the standout Sky Stokes, who is a sophomore also, but she'll be a Division I signee here in the near future. A lot of Big Ten schools all over her to sign for volleyball, so that'll be something that we'll cover in the near future. But other than that, no. I mean, we don't see a lot of parent coaches at the higher levels. Now, that's not to say that moving forward in the future, that's not going to be something that we see more of, as all these young kids that we talk about who have parent coaches. If they want to continue coaching at the high school level and there's openings and they're with these kids. They've been with these kids since they were, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. You could see them guys move into the position if that's something they want to do. It's not, coaching. You don't coach for the money. You know that. It's you coach because you love the game or you love having an impact on a team or a group of kids. So it'll be interesting to see what the future holds. But down here right now, 2 parent coaches at the high school level, and that's it.
I think it's kind of exciting. I really do. I think it's one of those things where, if you can have success and a coach is willing and dedicated to put the time in to learning the game, to learning the resources around the game, why not? I mean, I don't think there necessarily should be top of the resume, but if their resume proves to be, as good or better than any of the other coaches out there that don't have a horse in the race, yeah, absolutely. You should, try to stay close to home and, make that team great again from the inside out. So I think from my standpoint, we're going to see it a lot more. I think it's a trend that we're going to see. We're already seeing, and we've seen for probably the past decade, a lot of close hires. And what I mean by that is, a graduate of the program 10 years ago, the graduate of the district 10 years ago, played a huge part in the program, whether on a big or small scale of their success, and they come back and they decide they want to coach. And it's not always the standout player. We talked about that yesterday. Coaches, I guess sometimes you can play and not coach, and sometimes you can coach and not play. It just depends on kind of what's upstairs. So I think we're going to see that a lot more hires from the program. And I think we're going to see a lot more parent coaches as we move forward, because in today's day and age, you have to be so prepared at such a younger level. It's almost like if you don't understand the game, you don't understand the rules, you're already behind, even if it's Little League. I mean, you said it yesterday. You're killing teams that are in that youth organization, but you've known the game your whole life of baseball. So some parents who've never been around the game, just kind of learning for themselves and learning for their kids to educate them, aren't going to be able to hit the ground running. They're going to have to kind of play catch up to get where you're at. But yeah, I think that's where it's headed. I really do. I think parent coaches have a huge opportunity to climb that ladder with a successful track record and a successful resume that has been proven over years of success, even if it's at the Little League, minor league level.
Yeah, I agree totally. I mean, I coach a 12U baseball team. I've been this year they're 12U. This is my 3rd year with this group of kids. And most of them are Liverpool kids. So my goal, of course, would be to get these kids to, move forward as a group, play at a high level. We went outside our comfort zone last year. We did a little bit of traveling, went outside of the local area, and they found out at first it was a struggle. We started 1-9 or 1-10 because the competition that we were seeing was nowhere near what we had been used to playing. So the 1-9, 1-11 start, I think one of the two ended up being a 13-19 finish. So they turned the season around, started playing at a higher level, was able to probably grasp a little more understanding of the game because of, they got tired of losing, and that's what we talked about yesterday. You got to be a good loser before you can be a good winner. And last year with my 12U baseball team, the travel team, that was key. They got tired of losing and they didn't get used to it, but they dealt with it and they turned the season around and really finished strong. 3rd place finish at the baseball youth nationals down in Cincinnati. And it was an exciting time. So hopefully this year we come back and we pick up where we left off, but time will tell, I guess. Time is always the great, I don't know where I was going with that, man. Time will tell. I was trying to be very prophetic and kind of, sit on my high horse, but yeah. You were going to throw out some Nostradamus there or something. I was, man. Yeah. I was trying, and yeah, I had a brain fart, so no dice. So all of you waiting for that nugget of information to take with you here on this Thursday, the day after Valentine's Day,
You're gonna have to wait.
You got the Valentine's Day hangover, bro.
Dude, I'll tell you what. Here's the cool thing. I don't know. We typically don't celebrate Valentine's Day in the Yoakley house. But I wake up yesterday. There's a Reese's heart waiting for me. And I'm not talking about like some scrawny Reese's heart. I'm talking about like I came down for my coffee to get ready for the show, prep, and there was this monster just waiting on the table for me with a simple "I love you." And you know what? That made my day. That simple nugget of she was thinking of me made my day, because we don't usually do that. So then you go into full scramble mode as a husband because, oh crap, I didn't get anything for her. What do I do? So me, being the overly romantic type, came downstairs and wrote 40 reasons why I love my wife. 40.
Wow. That's impressive.
And, oh yeah. Oh, yes, I know. Trust me, I know, because I was sweating, my friend. I was, and not that it was hard to do, but it's hard to do before she gets up, so you got to make it look like, you thought of this the whole time. You were prepared for this. Right. In such a situation. And I was sweating because you hear the dogs come out, she wakes up and the feet hit the floor and you're trying to look at your printer, and obviously then you got a print cartridge problem that you got to work through. So then you're an IT guy. It's one of those things, man, where you're just that guy. Like you're caught off guard. And I guess I should, a long time ago, somebody told me as you become a husband, as you become a father, you got to be prepared for every situation, right? If somebody gets you kind of like a Sheldon moment, he hates, I don't know if you watch Big Bang Theory, but he hates getting presents because he feels he has to be inclined to give somebody back something.
Right.
And so I give her that. I fold it in half. I make it into a card, right? Because I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this. 40 reasons why I love you. 40 reasons why, yeah, you married the best husband in America. Do my little thing. Put it, Happy Valentine's Day with a heart with an arrow through it. I roll upstairs and I was like, oh, thank you so much for this awesome Reese's Pieces, or this Reese's thing. And she's like, oh yeah, no problem. And I gave her this card and she's like, oh, you didn't have to do that. And I was like, don't worry, baby. Just read through all 40 reasons. And she read through and she's like, this is great. This is fantastic. And immediately I was just like, damn, like, why couldn't I just go out like to Circle K and grab like an I love you Snickers bar or something like that? Like, but it came from the heart. For my reasons, I did it for the right way. But man, it's hard being a husband. It's tough.
It's amazing what a Reese cup will make you do,
Dude, that Reese's cup made me crazy. Like you would have thought it was gold.
I got my wife a blanket. That's how. I'm not a greeting card holiday guy. Never have been. But I did. We always battle for blankets here in the Peace House down in the family room. So
what kind of blanket?
My wife, just a knitted, like almost looks like a something your grandma would knit.
Did you knit it?
Blanket? No.
That's weak sauce, man.
Oh, I know. I paid for it. I just went out and bought it. It was lame. So you definitely won. You outdid me there. That's a gift from the heart.
No, man, nobody beats a knitted blanket. Come on, let's be realistic. I can sit here and write 100 reasons, but my wife puts the BS meter up and she goes, okay, this is BS. This is BS. This is BS. It's like, okay, you might like that I do the dishes. You might like that I cook for you, but all that stuff.
You did not put that she does the dishes, did you?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I might have. I don't know. I don't remember. I have a terrible memory about that stuff. But dude, listen, you want to hear, like, literally, I'm sitting right by my keyboard right now where I typed this up. It was Fast and Furious. It was like something you see, like a montage in movies where somebody is just aggressively pounding the keyboard trying to get something done. I haven't been that, like, my stomach hurt because I didn't want to upset her. Like, if I roll up there and I go, hey, honey, thanks for the Reese's, and I got nothing, if I just got empty hands, she won. She wins, man.
Oh, she wins.
We cannot.
Let me ask you this question: how much of a struggle was it once you got to like 35?
What do you mean?
You wrote down 40 reasons.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, if my wife's listening, it wasn't hard at all. It was very easy. I've got more up my sleeve. I could do a list of 1,000.
Right.
But for all the guys out there, the real it's tough because you start going over things that you did, like you've already done. Like I remember getting to like 37 and looking up and oh crap, that's the same as number 17, just different words. Like you got to bust out the thesaurus to try to make sure that you're. And I didn't know I was going to do 40, but that's as many as fit on the paper. So I was like, all right, we're just going to do 40 and go with it, roll with it, roll tide, right? But
roll tide, roll.
But man, what a Valentine's Day, and it's the whole rest of the day you're queasy because you're like, all right, do I go get roses? Do I go get flowers? And then you get yelled at because the flowers cost money, and they're just going to die, and you're just like, man, you can't win sometimes. But I love my wife very much. She is the number one person in my life, and she always will be. But man, Valentine's Day, I hate your guts. I hope you're listening right now, and I hate your damn guts. I'm gonna say it. I wish I had access to a blanket.
It is a nice blanket.
I'm sure it is. What you need is one of those giant blankets that you can like put her face on, and give her that. Those are nice. Yeah. Or even better, put your mug on it, and that way. She always thinks of you. Oh, that'd be awesome. That'd be classy. With your man bun? Yeah.
No, I'm going to cut that soon, actually.
No, can we do that live on YSN, the formal cutting of the man bun?
Yeah, we can, haircut. We can have a haircut live on YSN, sure.
Can we put a poll out of what kind of haircut you should get?
No.
Oh!
No way.
Dude, 100% bowl cut wins.
Oh, no way.
Would you rock a bowl cut for 24 hours?
No.
Oh, come on.
No, I can't do it.
Well, you have a hat on 90% of the time anyway, right?
Yeah, I do, but still,
just
I can't do it.
24 hours.
Like a Dumb and Dumber type cut, I can't. No way.
Come on. If I had hair, I would do it. I would do it hands down, but I don't. So you got to take this one for the team, brother, for the burrito, for the brand.
Let me ponder that.
All right. We'll put something out on our Facebook page about what haircut you should have because I think it's that important.
All right.
Would you rock a mohawk?
I would do a mohawk, yeah.
You would do a mohawk and not a bowl cut. That's weak. Would you do highlights in your hair? Your hair's pretty light, so I guess you don't have to.
No, I wouldn't do highlights.
Would you do like a 98 degrees Backstreet Boys like cut? Like with the highlights and the spiked hair and gelled up?
I had that once in my lifetime. I had, probably like right out of high school or in high school, I had crazy, hair that went in every direction with highlights. Yeah, people used to tell me I look like the guy off Rascal Flatts all the time.
My wish is that you would just make a bowl cut with the center part down the middle. You remember those with the kind of curves in? Did you have it?
Lloyd Christmas cut.
Oh yeah. Man, we were way off, but it was fun. It was a fun little side conversation. Hope people got a little something out of it, a little bit more than sports. Transition, man. Let's talk about some serious stuff here. The heavy punching bag for the day is going to be open enrollment. Man, this is such a interesting topic to talk about because open enrollment has changed the game. And when you talk about the game of where kids go to school, where the money goes, how many dollars are in the bank account for these districts, open enrollment has played such a huge part in being a headache or being an absolute staple of some school districts. And obviously, we look back at free agency and professional sports, and that's pretty much how it starts, man. Highest bidder, or where you feel like you're going to get the best opportunity, that's where it goes. So what's your take on open enrollment and kind of the way it should be against the way it is?
I like it right now how it is. It's my son, we live in Beaver Local School District. My son goes to East Liverpool, and
no,
no, and then it's not because that I wanted him to go there. I mean, he wanted to go there. He has a lot of friends there. He has friends at both schools, but he had, a lot of friends at East Liverpool, a lot that he plays basketball and baseball with. So he wanted to make that move, and I held it off for as long as I could, because just thinking, if you don't want to force him to do anything he don't want to do, but he decided that he wants to be a Potter, and it had a lot to do with his love for basketball, and and the aurora or mystique that surrounds the Potter basketball program, that beautiful gymnasium, the live band when they run out. I mean, I think that's huge for kids. I mean, it was big for me when I was a kid, and I like the fact that he enjoys it as well too. So yeah, he's an open enrollment kid. He goes to East Liverpool. My daughter's still a Beaver local Beavers. So
Whoa.
Yeah. So I guess it just to each family, it comes back to whatever each family individually feels that is best for their student or student athlete. If they feel that it's best for them to transfer to a neighboring school or a school outside of their district, then it's the part of being American and the freedom to make your own choices. And so I'm all for open enrollment. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of school districts, and not maybe in our area, but outside of our area or in our area, we don't know, that maybe stretch the envelope a little bit, so to speak, to where they they use it to benefit an athletic program or to better their athletes that are in their school district by maybe pushing to bring some superb athletes in or superb students into their district. I mean, who knows what goes on behind the scenes, but as far as having a problem with open enrollment, I have zero problems with open enrollment, because I feel that it's the choice of the parents or the guardians of these children, student athletes, to put them where they feel they have the best chance of succeeding, not only in the classroom, but on the in the athletic field that they excel in. So I got no issues with it.
In today's day and age, do you think that it benefits to be an open enrollment school as opposed to not being?
Well, I mean, listen, school districts or schools in general, it's still a business. I mean, they have to run it like a business, and for each student that that the school enrolls or has on their enrollment list, they're receiving money from the state of Ohio. So, schools want their numbers to grow. They want, the numbers to rise annually, and because it's better for the school district's bottom line. So yeah, I mean, I got no issues with it.
Here's the crazy thing about this open enrollment thing is the numbers that are attached to it are absolutely just mind-boggling, because if your son or daughter decides to go to another school, that somehow, I mean, I don't know, this might be the way it works, and I'm still trying to kind of navigate and charter through the waters here, but the way I understand it is that school is owed X amount of dollars for every open enrollment kid they get, and obviously the school that student should be going to by location does not receive that money. To my knowledge, that's how it works, and I could be completely off. So if you know more about this, please feel free to chime in here, either on the chat or hit us up on our social media pages or just directly. But the schools that don't have athletic programs, really traditionally sound athletic programs, or aren't exciting, are really losing kids hand over fist here to schools that do. But here's where open enrollment really turns the corner, because there are some schools that will take open enrollment students if you have a heartbeat, because they look at the bottom dollar. And that's cool. That's fine. It's a business. You do you, right? I mean, I'm not here to tell you how to run your business, but there's also schools out there that have strings attached. Like, you have to maintain a certain GPA. You have to, make sure that you're not a nuisance or disrupting the culture of that school that they've already represented. That's the kind of stuff that I love, because going to school is obviously something that's required. But if you're choosing a school, it becomes a privilege, right? So I think that's what it boils down to me. I mean, boils down to me. I don't know, boils, whatever, it boils. Anyway, the biggest thing is if you're going to go to a school like that, if you're going to go to a top tier school, whether it's for athletics or academics, a combination of both, whatever it is, you should be accountable for your actions and not be able to go and run amok and say, well, I'm only here because I'm the best quarterback in the area, because and end up with D's. You know, there should be, and in a lot of schools there are regulations that you have to maintain a certain grade point average. You have to make sure that you're not disrupting the culture. And what I mean by that is you're not getting in school or out of school suspensions. You're not, in detention every day, because if you do that, you're gone. Go back to where you came from, because you're not going to do that here. You're not going to run amok. So hats off to the schools that are doing that. Hats off to the schools that are utilizing this and seizing the opportunity to utilize open enrollment to grow their schools, to grow their programs the right way. And some of these schools, what I see what we're turning into is, and it's all over the country now, but high schools are slowly but surely turning into colleges where people can pick based on their academics, their athletics. I want to be an English major in college, so I need to go to this school to be prepared. Whereas if you want to be a math major or an engineer, you go to the school 2 miles away to prepare yourself for the next level. I'm not necessarily saying that's a good thing, but I'm not necessarily saying it's a bad thing either, because even though I went to a liberal arts school and it helped me kind of be a jack of all trades, I'm a firm believer that you can still be a jack of all trades and a master of one or two, and come out pretty crisp on the other side. What's your take, Mr. Pease?
I mean, I agree. I agree with you 100%. Well, as you were talking there, I was looking up the public or elementary secondary school system per pupil current spending by state. So it looks like Ohio, they have a range here. For every student that it is enrolled, the school receives funding from the state in the amount of anywhere from $8,000 to $12,000. So that's why all these schools are so openly ready to accept these kids, because every kid that decides to, open enroll to another school, that's another $8,000 to $11,000 in the school's bottom line. So I wanted to throw that out there as well.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's more than I thought.
Yeah, it's a good chunk of change. But at the same time, I mean, it's not like that's a net for these schools, because it costs, tremendous amount of money to feed them if they eat school lunch, and then the insurances that the school has to carry, just the funds that it takes to run the school on a daily basis. I mean, I know school districts that have electric bills of $15,000 a month. So I mean, it's not cheap to run a school district, and that's why these schools they want to grow their numbers, just like a college or university. They want to grow their enrollment numbers. So do high schools. So do any public school, because it's going to enhance their bottom line, which can enhance the school district in multiple ways. Better curriculum, better buildings, better grounds, better football fields, better baseball fields, better. I mean, the list can go on and on. The more enrollment that you have, the more money that these school districts can put back into schools to make it a better place for these kids to want to come to school, and give it an opportunity for more kids to want to come to school there. So, Beaver Local, their enrollment's up. And I'm sure it has a lot to do with the beautiful school that they built.
Yep. Absolutely. I mean,
South Range, I'm sure South Range, after they built their school, I bet you their enrollment numbers went up.
See, to me, it's all about vision. It's all about not the next 2 years, not the next, 12 months. It's all about the next 10 years. And you can tell the school districts that have pride, and you can tell the school districts that have, and obviously they have a little bit of cash flow too, but they run their school and they run their district like a business, and a very successful one. And you can tell the schools that are out there that are running their districts and I hate to even say it, as a form of charity, and being able to utilize levies and things of that nature to, and counting on just the parents, and just businesses and just the taxes to get them through. And then you have other schools that focus on, hey, this is a group effort. And if you want your kids to have a great time in, middle through, I guess, elementary school through high school, it's going to take all of us. We're all going to have to roll our sleeves up, and get our hands dirty a little bit. But on the other side of that, there's going to be there's going to be a pride that comes with it. And what we're seeing a lot around here is that pride. We're seeing that. I mean, the Potter pride, the East Liverpool Potters. You guys have tons of pride. You also have a beautiful facility that you can showcase every basketball game, every volleyball game, every time somebody goes in that field house. You guys obviously have a staple, and it's rich in history. It's rich in success, and people want to be there. Beaver Local has a beautiful facility at their school that they sell, and I've been on campus. I've had a chance to tour the campus, talk to the principals there, talk to the athletic director, Rick Prescott, and I'll tell you what, man, they're doing it right. South Range, doing it right.
The only thing that Beaver Local messed up on, I'm just being honest, they had an opportunity to really maybe take a stranglehold on the enrollment in our area here. If they would have built, they built that beautiful brand new school, but then they didn't build a better gym. I mean, it's still a cracker box like they had at the old high school. So I wish they wouldn't have shorted out on the spending of that gym, because it's still a very, very tight fit in there. And it's pretty much, it looks like they put a fresh coat of paint on the old Beaver Dome and moved it over to the new school. But I'm sure that it was all about, that came down to state funding too. They had to, they had certain areas that they had to spend money in, and the gymnasium was one of them.
Yeah. And I think everything it boils down to is where you want to put your eggs in the basket. So there's some schools that are great at allocating at every single level. Obviously, academics are first. They want to make sure they have great teachers, great educators in the building, and give the kids the best opportunity to have the best education and move forward. Athletics should be a firm, 2 or 3 underneath of, the education. And what we're seeing is you got to be able to do it all. You got to be able to be a jack of all trades. If you're a superintendent nowadays, you got to be able to wear multiple hats. And some are evolving a lot better and a lot faster than others. And others are just stuck in their ways. And, I'm not blaming superintendents, and I'm not pointing the blame at superintendents at all. What I'm saying is, when you have a superintendent that constantly is in hallways and meeting with students and shaking the hands of parents, and out in the mornings waving to parents as the kids come in, and a hands-on superintendent, hands-on athletic director, hands-on teachers that are just they buy in to the program, they buy into the district. That's the difference. No matter what gym you have. Say what you want about Beaver Local's gymnasium or whatever, if it's too small, if East Liverpool's is too big, you know what? The outreach that we have in our area is amazing. And I think that open enrollment is a good thing, but it's a double-edged sword. And getting back to the topic at hand, you might sell that Beaver, and what's the capacity? I don't know what the capacity. It'd be cool to have Rick on the show and talk about how many people you can fit in there, as opposed to the field house, because it might be the same. It just is a little bit different. You just never know. Seating can often be look different. It's I don't know, visually appealing in the field house. But
I'll be at Beaver Local on Saturday morning for a youth basketball game, so I'll
count the seats.
Well, I won't count the seats, but I'm sure there's a maximum capacity somewhere when you walk in there or on the wall or something. And
that's the thing. I mean, East Liverpool, you guys are trying to, I believe, get a new facility for your football. I mean, you just put up,
We are.
yeah. So I mean, you look
turf.
at
we want turf.
Yeah, are you guys going to do blue turf?
Wouldn't that be cool? I doubt it. I'm sure it'll be green, but
I mean, you look at, I mean, your facility. Your facility is very old, but it's rich in tradition. So some people dig that.
You got the train track down there. You know, that's always cool when it's a Friday night and the train rolls by, and you're right on the river.
No, it's cool. Every school and every facility has their own kind of niche. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's cool. But for open enrollment purposes, I might not like going into a stadium that's half capacity. I might like, it might be half the capacity, but the butts are always in the seats and it's always loud there, and that's what East Liverpool is. You go there to trust me, if you've never been to Potterville on a Friday night, you go down to East Liverpool and that place is jam-packed and people are jamming on Friday. It's everything you see in the high school football movies. It's everything that they try to capture, encapsulated right here about 7 miles down the road. So
yeah, we're trying to bring all that back. I mean, it used to be at the field house. I mean, you couldn't get a seat in the blue seats, the padded seats. They were all filled up, but now there's some gaps in there, and the crowds have thinned down from what they used to be, but it's still, you've seen at the Holiday Classic, it's still when there's a good crowd and there's good basketball in there, there's not a better place to watch high school basketball than in that gymnasium. And that's, and I've watched high school basketball in just about every gymnasium, especially on this side of the state of Ohio. But yeah, we love it. And, turf, the whole turf thing down at Patterson Field, I hope that the school district really does get behind the turf project and gets it done before fall. It puts us a step ahead of our neighboring schools. Now, I know East Palestine has turf, but Beaver Local, Wellsville are our neighboring schools. Neither one of those school districts have turf on their football field. So if we can get a jump on those two schools and get turf and beautify that facility down there that has a lot of rich tradition and history, I feel that it's a factor that will bring maybe more open enrollment to the district, which ultimately is good for the district. So just my 2 cents there.
Well, better facilities equal better opportunities. And
exactly.
If you're willing to put down the money and attract those, those shiny things that you can put in a packet and say, hey, we play on turf. Don't forget that, we have this beautiful facility here. A lot of people have played on it, but we're going to be putting down turf soon. So, I mean, like I said, open enrollment is a double-edged sword, no matter which way you look at it, because the kids are coming from somewhere, and typically 9 times out of 10 they're coming from another school district around here. You're not going to get a lot of kids coming from Tennessee or South Carolina just to come to a school in our area, but it does happen, just not very often. So schools have to compete with each other the same way businesses do when there's talent and there's a game changer, essentially. So from an academic standpoint, from an athletic standpoint, because don't get me wrong, we're a sports network, but from a academic standpoint, there's people that switch schools because of academics, because there's a better opportunity for their son or their daughter elsewhere, and that's long term and short term. So it's not always about athletics, but athletics, a lot of times is the creature that gets the most credit for open enrollment.
Yeah, it definitely plays the biggest part in open enrollment. And like you said, there's other things that play into it, but the number one factor change for an open enrollment, without even knowing the truth, I'm going to tell you right now, it's athletics. People change schools for athletics.
Well, yeah, and then like I said, people change schools because they don't like a teacher, which I think that should be cut off at the hip, because I mean that's bad. I mean,
yeah, because you're always gonna in real life, once you go into real life, you're gonna have a boss you don't like.
Yep.
You just can't switch jobs. I mean,
Nope.
You could, but it's not gonna it's not going to be a wise life decision. You know, if every time somebody rains on your parade or tells you something you don't want to hear, you just give up and go move on to something else. I mean, that's a recipe for failure. So hopefully, you know, that side of the coin don't play into, you know, creating, you know, people for failure in adult life, I guess to say, you know, so to speak. But yeah, I don't know.
No, it'll be interesting to see how this thing continues to evolve. I mean, obviously it's hit close to home here, very close to home, and it creates a ripple effect for others, because then you're talking about, okay, if little Johnny's, you know, decides he wants to go to, you know, school A, but all his friends are at school B, do the friends go with him? You know, do the parents see a better opportunity and wonder why Johnny and his parents are moving him to school A? Or do they stick to their guns and say, hey, we don't want to move our kid from school B. We want to make sure that, you know, our kid has the best opportunity for success and has his friends around him. I mean, it's crazy. There's so many facets to look at and hone in on. So that's why it's such an interesting topic. And we encourage you to everybody out there that's listening, love to get your feedback. I mean, we will absolutely revisit this, I'm sure, at some point. Love to get some people on the show to talk more eloquently about it than two goofs on a morning show. But yeah, I mean, it really. Here's a question: since you said that one of your kids goes to East Liverpool and the other goes to Beaver Local, who makes that decision? Do you put it in the hands of your son and your daughter to, you know, where do you want to go?
Well, I mean, yeah, that's a tough question. Yes and no. I mean, of course, you know, I want my kids to be happy, and you know, my son wanted to go to East Liverpool, and you know, I was kind of hoping he would just, you know, hold off till he got to the 7th, 8th grade level, but he wanted to go sooner, and we let him go down this year. My daughter, she has friends at Beaver Local. She showed no interest in leaving Beaver Local, and you know, it's only a short drive out the road for us from where we live. So I guess my kids made their own decision there. But granted, if there was underlying issues that we felt that it wasn't in their best interest to go to either one of those schools, you know, we would, as parents, we would of course make that decision for them. But yeah, at this point in time, I let my son choose and I let my daughter choose. So, and I was okay with either one. So therefore, that's where we're at. We have we're a one Beaver, one Potter household at the moment.
That's a pretty cool opportunity, man. I mean, I didn't know that. That's news to me, and it's pretty cool news considering, you know, that you never wear red. So I would love to see a picture of your daughter's homecoming. You know, fast forward one day when you have to wear red, or you know, senior night, because you're not going to be that goof in a blue hat and blue shirt when it's Beaver Local's senior night, are you?
No, I'll just probably wear something, you know, earth tone-ish.
With a bowl cut.
With a bowl cut, yeah. With a bowl cut, yeah.
No, it's going to be fun, man. And that's the thing. I mean, no matter which way we lean on this, I mean, it's a hot topic. Open enrollment is all around. So we got to be able to, you know, objectively look at, you know, from a 5,000-foot view and say, okay, you know, this school, and we're not pointing at any school. I don't want anybody to think that we're picking on anybody or, you know, pointing the finger at anybody. This is something that's an American issue. I mean, open enrollment is outside of the area, but it does affect us. It affects every school around here. And if you talk to the superintendents, they are very aware of how open enrollment affects them and affects their numbers, both from, you know, in the bank account as well as, you know, roaming through the hallways, because every student essentially brings money into their school in one way or another, and, you know, brings, you know, whether it be now or later, brings an opportunity for that school to grow. So exciting stuff, my friend, exciting stuff. We have about 10 minutes left, but let's quickly hop over, and this is an ugly transition and an ugly segue, so I apologize. But man, turning on the MLB network, we are in spring training, and it is, man, every time I hear that glove pop from the mitts pop from the pitchers and catchers, there's a little bit of excitement that goes through me. And we're both Pirate fans. We're both baseball fans in general. Clint Hurdle talked to the media yesterday and said that the Pittsburgh's going to explode whenever they get their World Series championship. I chuckled, and then I thought, how cool would it be if we're the off-the-radar team this year? The Pirates, I shouldn't say we. The Pirates are the off-the-radar team that are able to make it happen. Stranger things have happened.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, listen, I don't think that I know that the Pirates ownership made a lot of people mad this year, getting rid of Cole and McCutchen, but I'm not one that, just is giving up on this team already, because there's still talent on the team that could make it happen. World Series, probably not, just because of the lack of pitching. But if Jameson Taillon can truly break through and become a number one pitcher this year, and lead that team on the front end of the rotation, I mean, stranger things have happened before. And Josh Bell is going to have a big year, I'd imagine. You still got Marte, you still got Polanco, who was injury plagued last year. I love Cervelli behind the plate. Jordy Mercer, strong shortstop. Harrison, he could be decent when he wants to be. Hopefully his attitude didn't deter him from wanting to be an elite player this year. But there's prospects in the minor leagues: Glasnow, Meadows, Keller. I mean, those guys. I mean, the pieces are there. It's not like we're just the Cleveland Indians from major league. I mean, there's major league talent here on this team. It depends on if they can gel and put it together and make a run, at a wild card or maybe the division, which is probably going to be an uphill battle with the Cubs and the upswing Cardinals in there. But I'm not writing the Pirates off either. So time will tell once again. And if you got that Nostradamus saying on the top of your tongue here, time will tell for sure if the Pirates can put something together. But
winning heals everything.
It sure does.
All of the butt hurt that Pittsburgh has right now over the Nuttings, over some people are blaming Neil Huntington. I don't know that you can point the finger at him. You certainly cannot point the finger at Clint Hurdle. In the players, last year the players just didn't execute. I mean, let's be real. The Pirates had a decent team. You have Garrett Cole. You have Andrew McCutchen. You lose Starling Marte through suspension. It was a tough season for him. I mean, you don't have Jung Ho Gung, because of his antics over in his hometown. 3 DUIs for those of you who don't know. How do you put that on the front office? And for those of you out there that are saying, "Hey, go replace this guy," how do you replace a Jung Ho Gung that is just unbelievably talented, and you have money wrapped up in him? And by the way, there's people saying that he might make it back during that season, in spring training. And then you realize quickly, halfway through the season, oh man, we're not getting him back anytime soon. So if you're holding your breath for Jung Ho Gung, I mean, I'd say release it, because I don't think that guy is going to be coming back in a Pirates uniform anytime soon, or getting granted an opportunity to play. Now, I could be completely off, but every beat reporter for the Pirates just kind of giggles and laughs when you say, "Hey, what about Jung Ho Gung?" So that's not a good sign. I would say that from our standpoint, basically you got a free agent signing for all intents and purposes when you get Starling Marte back. You get, left field's going to be an issue, I think. They were talking about the rotation of Rodriguez, of Frazier, and they have they kicked around the idea of Osuna, but the field, Osuna is not exactly fleet of foot, so I can see him more at third base. But a couple big pickups. I mean, you lose Garrett Cole, yes, that's your number one starter, but was he really? I mean, he ate up a lot of innings.
I didn't think Cole was very good last year. I actually didn't bother me that Cole even left. The only one that bothered me that left was McCutchen, just because I know that Kutch is a Pirate at heart, and he didn't have a terrible year last year. Yeah, he maybe not be putting up the MVP type numbers that he did in the past, but he's still a functioning baseball player who's going to put up, numbers better than probably 80 to 85% of most major leaguers. And I don't know. That was really the only move that bothered me. I like to try to stay positive on on all avenues in life. Negativity kills just about everything. But you got Polanco, who in 2016 had a great year, 22 home runs, 20 or so stolen bases. Last year, though, Polanco injury plagued, had hamstring issues all last year. So, but one of the bright spots for Polanco last year was his strikeouts. His strikeout rate went way down from years in the past. So, like, there's something there. If he can stay healthy, strikeout rate stays low, Polanco could have a breakout year. We know Marte's ultra talented. We know he could be the face of the franchise. We know Josh Bell's ultra talented. He could be the face of the franchise. So those three guys right there, if they can put together numbers that they are capable of putting up, along with some surprises in the pitching staff, I'm telling you, the Pirates aren't going to be that bad. But on the other side of the coin, it could go the other way and they could be terrible. But
dude, I'm thinking, and you know what? At max, I think they're an 80-win team. 8, and that's still a losing team.
So you say only 5 more wins than last year, huh?
Yeah, because here's the thing, man. Their offense is going to be bad. It's going to be bad. I mean, you're putting all your hopes and dreams into a defense that who the hell's pitching for them? I mean, at this point, from everything I've heard, Nova's going to be their ace. Then you got, J-Mo, in the number 2 spot. And then you're filling in, you got Cool,
Musgrove, Williams.
Musgrove's going to be your number 5. Williams is going to be your number 4. So you've got an inexperienced pitching staff led by Ivan Nova. And everybody wants Ivan Nova to be what Francisco Liriano was. And it's not going to happen. He's not that guy. From my standpoint, defensively, they're in trouble because as much as I am a fan of Francisco Cervelli, and my wife is a huge fan of Francisco Cervelli because he looks like Uncle Jesse from Full House, he's not the best defensive catcher out there. We still, for a long time, since we haven't had Russell Martin, we've had a problem with giving up base stealers, base runners from first to second to third, because our pitchers do the best they can to keep the runners close. But Cervelli doesn't have a gun. He doesn't have a cannon to throw those guys out. And he does an adequate job sometimes, but the dude is a wet noodle. He's always hurt. And he just can't get it done behind the plate. Now, I'm a fan of him, and I don't want to crush him because I know how tough that position is. But man, then you go from the catcher's position, then you have Colin Moran over at third, it's basically his job to lose. They're going to do everything they can to make sure he's the third baseman, and he's not bad. He's not terrible on defense, but he's known more for his offensive potential. Then you have Jordy Mercer, who essentially is going to be a trade piece for the Pirates, this year. So you look at what's behind him. You look at, Rodriguez is going to play a few games at short. He's going to play. I like
Rodriguez, though.
Yeah, he's going to play a few games at third. Rodriguez is going to be everywhere.
I like Rodriguez. I was glad when they brought him back. I mean, I think he's probably one of the best utility players in the MLB, and he brings a sense of leadership and I feel like he has pride about his game.
Hurdle loves utility guys. Loves them. Guys that play more than one position. And to me, while it was cool for a couple years, man, that you want to talk about jack of all trades, master of none. We've had some jacks on this team. I wouldn't include Rodriguez in that. I think that, and it probably could happen if you look at the 5,000-foot view. I think they still move Harrison before the opener. I still think I do, because that's a position where you can have Rodriguez be an everyday starter for you at second base and be a stud standout. And then when he needs a break, Adam Frazier can move in from left field, and he's potentially a good second baseman as well. So he's one of those guys that can fill in. But one or two positions is okay. But when you've got, Frazier playing center field or right field, then the next night he's in left field, like, that's great that he can do that, but is he really up to par? Is he up to snuff to be that guy? I don't know. But here's my question. I've listened. I've looked everywhere. Where the hell is Austin Meadows? We were promised Austin Meadows, and he was this great standout superstar. We're holding on to him. He was in trade talks. The Pirates are saying absolutely not. You have to give up the franchise. Giancarlo Stanton. So where is Meadows? Where is he going to play?
Meadows has got to prove that he can stay healthy before.
Oh boy!
I mean, he battled injuries all last year. And
he
only hit
off the eye?
Yeah. Yes, and he only hit 250.
Yeah,
last year in AAA with 4 homers. I mean, it's not like he's lighting the world on fire down there, but he's injury prone. But listen, I'm gonna go against you here because I want you to explain to me. Now, listen, we're gonna take and we're gonna say that things may be a little out of the norm offensively for the Pirates. But okay, Starling Marte, he could hit 30 home runs, right?
Has he ever?
No, but he's hit 20. Sorry, let's go back. Let's say 20. Okay, Marte can hit 20 home runs, right?
Yes.
Josh Bell can hit 20 home runs, right?
Right.
Gregory Polanco could hit 20 home runs.
Possible.
Hit 22 in 16.
What did he hit last year?
I'd have no idea, but it's not a lot. But he did have 22 in 16. So there's 3 guys with 20 plus home run potential. If those 3 guys can get there and the other 6 guys can play a good supporting role with maybe Harrison, if he does stay, getting back to his 2015 form, I mean, I don't see him being that bad offensively. I think the pitching is going to be the biggest uphill battle for the Pirates. I really do.
Dude, defensively, it could be rough. The thing is, these are major league hitters. These are major league pitchers. And the Pirates are quad A. You know what I mean? They're always going to be. And these are great people. And listen, I'm with you 100%. Number 6 is going to lead us. If we're going anywhere, it's going to be on the back of Starling Marte. He just better keep his nose clean, and he better be the center fielder that kicked Andrew McCutchen, our franchise player, out of town. That's what he has to be, because the worse we are on the record books, in the stats column, in the standings, the more you're going to hear, why the hell did we get rid of Andrew McCutchen? But let's rewind. Before this show was ever even thought of, last year, all I heard going into the spring training was, where are we trading Andrew McCutchen? And now there's so much, oh my gosh, how can you get rid of the face of your franchise? People wanted him out of town after the 2016 season. They wanted nothing to do with him, said he was washed up, said he was disinterested, and he might have been. But time's going to tell. The dude still won a 2013 Most Valuable Player Award. And the irony to me is that the last guy that we had successful, the face of the franchise, took off to San Francisco, and now we trade our face of the franchise to the Giants, to the Bay Area as well. So I don't know if you had a chance. On my personal Facebook page, I posted a picture of a McCutchen jersey that's in the Giants colors, Giants uniform. Man, that was weird to see for the first time.
Let's just hope he don't put on about 50 pounds of muscle and hit 73 home runs.
Well, I think he's going to need the dreads to do that if he comes back. But I'm always going to be a McCutchen fan. I had zero problems throwing away my Garrett Cole jersey. I will not throw away my McCutchen Pirates jerseys at any cost, because he's a guy that means a lot to me. He brought baseball back. He made it fun again here in Pittsburgh, and that's what we've needed for a long time. So, Andrew McCutchen, if somehow you're listening to this, we appreciate you, brother. We don't want you out of town. We wish you stayed, but I wish you well over in the Bay Area. Pirates 80-win team, 80-82 is my call. What says you?
I'm going to give him a little more credit than that. I'm going to say 90-72.
Get the hell out of here.
Yep.
Wow. Who's gonna be the ace?
Talion. He's gonna show up.
And the MVP
is gonna be Polanco.
Oh, wow. Okay.
If he stays healthy, if Polanco stays healthy.
I'm gonna go. I almost said Kutch. I'm gonna go. Yeah, it's gonna be Kutch. It's
I'm gonna Giants,
say. Yeah. I'm gonna say it is Josh Bell leading the team with Starling Marte. I think that's gonna be a cool dynamic to watch. But I also think that it's gonna be Ivan Nova playing out of his mind. I'm sure I don't know what he's signed until. I'll have to look that up for tomorrow's show. But he's probably got a contract coming up that, or at least knows that if he plays well, he could be a trade bait for some other team if the Pirates aren't playing up to snuff. So it'll be interesting, man. I really think that Hurdle's going to put all his eggs in the Nova basket because he is the veteran, and Hurdle believes in that so much. I also am calling for Josh Harrison not to be traded because I love him, but I think he will be traded, and that might be an interdivision trade. I think that he could end up in Cincinnati.
Oh, wow. His
hometown. So it'll be interesting. I don't know that you want to see him on a regular basis. If I'm them, I'm trading over to the American League. So you see him once in a while, but he can't hurt you because something tells me a guy like that, he's a lot like us. He keeps a chip on his shoulder if you tell him he can't do something, or because you got to think that guy wants to be the face of the franchise, and the Buccos just aren't having it. So
he's got potential. He's shown it.
I know, man. I know. I love him. I think he's a terrible base runner sometimes, but he always, makes the best of the situation. So that does it for us, though, man. Thursday. So we'll see everybody tomorrow. We're going to talk a little bit more Buccos. We'll probably expand over to more major leagues and who we expect to shine. We'll also have our heavy topic of the day. But make sure that you, number one, make sure you chime in with what haircut Tommy should get when he decides to cut the man bun. The early favorite, odds-on favorite's a bowl cut. We're gonna make sure of that. I'm gonna have everybody I know vote for that.
With a middle part.
With the middle part, yeah. So you got to leave enough on top that we can do the middle part with the curls towards the middle. The old kid from Sequest look. But then, and then let's talk a little bit of open enrollment. We talked about it a lot at length on the show today. What says you guys? So let us know. Text us. Reach out to us on social media, or if you see us walking around and dropping flooring or selling mattresses, let's have a discussion about it. We're for you. It's your sports network. So, but that does it today, partner. Any final thoughts?
Nope. You covered it. We're good.
All right, brother. Have a great day. Stay safe. It is a great day. Make it yours. For Tommy Pease, I am DJ Yoakley. So long, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.